Singapore and Malaysia say a new special economic zone deal between the two neighbors will aim to strengthen bilateral ties and elevate ASEAN's status as a global investment hub.
CNA's Afifah Ariffin spoke to Malaysia's economy minister, Rafizi Ramli, in an exclusive interview. He shared further insights on the agreement, explaining how the SEZ aligns with Malaysia's economic vision under its government.
We are expected to become a high-income nation between 2028 or 2029. But for this to happen, we really need to accelerate the restructuring of our economy. For this to happen, we do need infusion of new wave of high-tech investments. And of course, we have a good base in Penang, we have a good base in Klang Valley, but Johor is very suitable for that next engine of growth for this kind of investments.
Also, given Johor's close proximity and its interdependence on Singapore, is there a concern that there will be over-reliance on Singapore companies investing in this SEZ?
I've always maintained consistently in all the discussions about JS-SEZ that it will be such a big loss if JS-SEZ just look at Singapore and Malaysia. It's just that if I were a global investor now looking to expand and having a foothold into ASEAN, I have a few options. I can go to Vietnam, I can go to Indonesia, I can go to Malaysia or say Singapore. But then again, if I were to go to Singapore, Singapore has its plus points, but it also has its limitations, and vice versa for Johor. And therefore, the synergy that we can offer, I think, is designed to attract global investments, and that by itself, I think, will be able to manage this concern of over-reliance on Singapore businesses.
The vision for this SEZ is to rival some of the successful zones in countries like China, US, Germany, but we know that's very different from what we have here, where it requires two different countries, different jurisdictions. What would it take then to be on par with some of these successful zones?
If anything, this ambitious JS-SEZ, a special economic zone between two countries, which is not common in this world, is a manifestation of the first few steps towards a closer integration between two ASEAN economies. So therefore, while it is very different and therefore it has its sets of challenges, it also addresses that necessity to push for more integration between economies in ASEAN. So let's start with Johor and Singapore.
Skeptics are also saying a concern is politically proofing the SEZ. What steps are being taken to ensure the long-term success of this project?
Value. It's like there's always this concern that if there is a change of leadership or government or even a different minister, then what can happen to something as ambitious as JS-SEZ? I take comfort from this one truth, which is this is not driven as a personal or administrative project. This is a response to a commercial common sense, and the proof of the pudding is to make sure that it realizes its commercial potentials.
What is your vision for this JS-SEZ in the next 1 decade, 2 decades? What do you see it to be?
I would like to see an economic zone that is no longer defined by Malaysia or Singapore, but one that can really compete at the global level for the highest level of innovation and technical complexity. And if this were mooted 20 years ago, it would have been a lot more difficult. But we have that advantage now where in 10 to 15 years' time, ASEAN is expected to be a very prosperous and middle-class economy. So I'm hoping that when that comes together, you have the JS-SEZ as a center of that innovation and consumer market economy.